Today, the UFC makes its way back to the world's most famous apex, as in the main event, Maycee Barber will step in the octagon with Erin Blanchfield. Also, what about the co-main event? What about Mateusz Gamrot stepping in the octagon with Ludovit Klein? What do you think about that? Huh? How do you feel about that? And let me tell you, while there might be some action on the rest of this card, there ain't much more for names. All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy, Matt, and we are here to go over the latest Apex edition of the UFC. Let's be honest, there's not much to go over on this card. Like I said at the top, there's probably going to be a little bit of action on here. You know what I'm saying? Probably going to be a little bit, a few fisticuffs, if you know what I'm talking about on here. But we're not going to get all off into that because honestly, I mean, we just trying to pass the time, man. We just trying to pass the time to get to some better UFC fights. I mean, as I've spoken about in a previous video, clearly they're withholding fights till they ink their newest or latest streaming deal later this year. So you're going to have to make do. But with this one, let's jump into it. In the main event, Maycee Barber will step in the octagon with Erin Blanchfield. This is a 5-rounder. 25 minutes. Women throwing hands. Nah, you know. All right, so let's get down to it. So here's the thing. Maycee Barber. Maycee Barber's been on a tear here lately. I believe she's on a 6-fight win streak, right? But if you look at that 6-fight win streak, there's not much in there as far as the strength of competition that Erin Blanchfield has fought. So, you know, Maycee Barber recently got a win over, and I say recent as in March of 2024. Let's see, Caitlin Seminara, former Chukagian. We also have Amanda Hebas. We have Amanda Lee off in here. We got Evil Eye off in here. That's in 2022. We got Della Rosa also in 2022. We got Miranda Maverick, one she was gifted back in 2021. So, okay, so she's been on a little bit of a tear, but the strength of competition hasn't been the same that Erin Blanchfield has faced, right? Erin Blanchfield, who recently defeated Rose Namajunas in a 5-round unanimous decision. She lost before that to Manon Farrow, who just put on a healthy showing for herself against Valentina Shevchenko. Before that, let's see, we got Santos. Before that, we got Andrade. Before that, we got Molly McCann. Before that, we got Aldridge. We also have a win over Miranda Maverick as well. So, here's the thing. In my opinion, have there been wins in Maycee Barber's career that were had impressive moments? Yes. I wouldn't say she's got a lot of impressive wins, but she's had impressive moments in fights, right? Are there some fights that she was gifted on the scorecards that maybe she shouldn't have won? Yes, there probably is a couple. All right. Is Maycee Barber a good female fighter? I think she's comparable. I think she's a dog. I think when she needs to, she gets the job done. And I think she does well against MMA fighters that are somewhat well-rounded like herself. Or if they don't, they kind of have a little bit of knowledge about most aspects of mixed martial arts. I know we're kind of dancing around it, but let's get to it. Erin Blanchfield is a specialist. Erin Blanchfield is a world-class grappler, world-class wrestler. Erin Blanchfield gets the job done. Now, is she going to go in there and double leg GSP? No, she will not. But in the women's division, she goes in there and she handles her business. The strength of schedule is not the same. She's coming off of a win over Rose Namajunas, in which she had to bounce back after a devastating loss to Manon Farrow. In my opinion, Erin Blanchfield gets this done. She's not necessarily the most well-rounded, which I think Maycee Barber fares well against other women that are well-rounded fighters or semi-well-rounded. But Erin Blanchfield is a specialist. And this is a specialty that Maycee Barber is not going to out-specialty her in. You know what I'm saying? So, I got to go ahead. I got to go along with Erin Blanchfield to go ahead and get the win and continue her pursuit towards a title shot. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it was derailed by Farrow, but, you know, we've got new blood coming into the division because obviously Wei Li wants a shot at Valentina Shevchenko, so we will see how all that fares. We also have Natty Ice and Natalia Silva out there, so we'll see how it fares, but I got Erin Blanchfield. I know it's easy to go ahead and go along with the 5-round decision win here, but honestly, there's a world in which, Maycee Barber stays injured, and, she's coming back after a long layoff, another injury. She stays injured. She stays having issues like that. I could definitely see a world where Erin Blanchfield finishes her. I would say if she's going to get the finish, it'd be the end of the 4th, early 5th. But I think she might get Maycee Barber out of there. Just by sheer volume on the ground, working her, then eventually securing the choke and getting her out of there. So I'm going to go along with Maycee Barber to go ahead and get the win. I'm sorry, I apologize. Not Maycee Barber, Erin Blanchfield. I got Erin Blanchfield all day. Let's move over to the Kona main event, which is the only other fight I'm going to discuss today. That is Mateusz Gamrot stepping in the octagon with Ludovit Klein. Here's the thing about Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz Gamrot was a savage. Mateusz Gamrot was an animal, you know what I'm saying, a few years ago in the UFC in the lightweight division, right? He was so good that he only possessed the loss, to the best in the division, or at least close to it. And the fact of the matter is that Mateusz Gamrot was at one point doing so well, the UFC made him a backup fighter for an Islam Makhachev title fight. You know what I'm saying? So the dude is good. There's no doubt about that, right? Now, the thing is he was just moving along win after win after win until his last fight against Dan Hooker, in which Dan Hooker went out there like a man possessed at the last part of the second round, all through the third round, and refused to go down. He refused to relent. And Mateusz, I believe, was completely gassed from his wrestling in the first and the second round. And Dan Hooker went in there and put in work. You know what I'm saying? Now, with that being said, before then, Mateusz is, Rafael dos Anjos, Fiziev. I know, granted, that was a knee injury. Jalen Turner. Okay, so Jalen Turner's left the sport. Dariush took the win. Dariush took the unanimous decision win right there, right? Here's the thing, man. I feel like Mateusz Gamrot wants a title shot. He wants to try to make his way to a title shot. That's what he's been striving for. That's what he's been working for. He was made the backup fighter of a fight. But at the same time, though, how many times can you get denied that opportunity, right? Before it takes a toll on you. When I'm looking at a guy like Ludovit Klein, right? This guy is extremely well-rounded. Okay, so this guy, he could definitely hold his own in the grappling. He's not as good of a wrestler, of course, but when I say grappling, more of like he could defensively keep from probably getting submitted by Mateusz Gamrot, right? Mateusz Gamrot, let's not joke, his wrestling is world class, but I didn't like how he kind of gassed in that Dan Hooker fight. And I really feel like that was a fight that was Gamrot's for the taking from the jump. And I don't know what happened there. I mean, I'm not trying to disparage Dan Hooker, but bro, he should have went out there and wrestled and grappled him and eventually secured some sort of a choke, you know what I'm saying? Some sort of a submission. You know, you don't want to take you Dan Hooker's not a guy you want to try to hold down for 3 rounds. Cause when he gets back up and he's got his wind about himself, he coming. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know why he fought like that, but Ludovit Klein, bro, he has been on a tear. And I know his last win was only over. God, he beat Roberts in France. You know what I'm saying? But, okay, Thiago Moises, Cunningham, okay. Bau Mundez, excellent win. Draw with Guy Herbert. So here's the thing. Klein is really good, but I think what he has that Mateusz doesn't have, and I don't know if Mateusz wants to play around with trying to go a full 3 rounds of wrestling this man to a decision. Klein can knock you out, okay? He can knock you dead to the earth, all right? There won't be no need for a judge's scorecard. He's not a guy you want to play around with and stick around with for 15 minutes, 3 rounds. It's just not what you want to do. I'm actually going to go, I believe this is going to be an underdog pick here. I'm actually going to go for Ludovit Klein to get the win here. I've always been a huge Gamrot fan, but I didn't like how Gamrot looked in his last fight. I don't know what was going on there, but he didn't have that wrestling cardio that we were used to seeing in the past. And I don't know how many times this is really a no game fight for Gamrot. I mean, if he loses, he's definitely going to go down in the rankings, but if he wins, he doesn't really stand to gain anything because they're not about to give him a title shot anytime soon. And I feel like as long as it's looking like he's not going to get a title shot, I don't know if he's going in there with the same fire that he's previously shown when he thought the UFC was going to give him that shot. I'm going to go along with Ludovit Klein to go ahead and get the win here. So, that's the main event and the co-main event of the latest UFC Apex card. I mean, just looking at it, bro, there's just not a lot going on here. Billy Golf versus Ramiz. Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez. Zachary Reese is going to lay waste to Dusko Todorovic. Todorovic is going to eat canvas like he normally does. You know what I'm saying? Like a dinner. Maycee Chazon fighting on here against Ketlin Vieira, but not a lot going on, man. So we'll see how it all shapes out. Once again, guys, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you got any picks for the main and co-main event. Let me know who you think who's going to win in those, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be on DraftKings, you know what I'm saying? Do a little bit of betting. We'll be over on Underdog Fantasy, doing a few Underdog Fantasy bets, you know what I'm saying? MMA Fantasy bets, I should say. You know what I'm saying? Between these two, I think it's safe to say, even though if you want a little underdog action, I would say Blanchfield to finish. You know what I'm saying? That's one. I mean, most people are expecting to go 25 minutes. I think she might be able to get the finish. Nevertheless, man, please let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, comment. And once again, I do want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time.